Hi guys, welcome back to Gardening with Creations by DX & Co. It's hard to believe it's already been a year since we've pruned our Rosa Sharon. For those of you who haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description below as well as at the end of this video. Wanted to take some time real quick to show you again how I'm going to be pruning these Rosa Sharons a little bit differently, but the same concept as last year. So let's get started. First of all, I know we've got this very low setting sun that's kind of blinding us, but let me take you in a little bit closer and kind of show you. So this was the smaller of the two Rosa Sharons last year. It was really the first time that it had enough growth that I was able to prune it, and it just put on so much growth from just one pruning, and it's just doing fantastic this year. So many buds, and as you can see, there are lots of buds still already on this and still some forming. And then we've got this other hibiscus style Rosa Sharon, if you will, with wonderful wildlife still in it. Pollinators are loving these right now, and you can see I have to take a step back really to get this one in its full glory here. It is so tall, and we pruned all that down last year. We even pruned out a lot of the lower branches, and you can see it's just absolutely insane. I'm going to be taking a whole lot off of both of these, just really focusing on shaping this year because these got very heavy on the left hand side of this one, and as you can see on the right side of this one. And so I'm going to take those out, and for that you can see I actually brought out the big loppers, is what they're called, right? Is the tool that I'll be using to take out some of those thicker branches, and then I have the shears for some of my smaller branches. So what we like to focus on when we are doing pruning, whether that be for our fruit trees or whether that be for our perennials like the Rosa Sharons, number one is airflow. Is the tree getting enough airflow? Are the pollinators able to get into the flowers and pollinate the flowers and or the fruit? Two is artistry. How do I want it to look? Okay, so as we discussed before, we're going to start pruning this tree for aesthetics. The start is what I'm going to start with on this one. So what I want to do is actually expose the bottom of this tree, and I want to see the actual trunk line, the tree trunk itself. I'm going to take off all of the lowest branches so that I can expose this and make it look like a traditional tree at the bottom. So with these ones in particular, these are a little bit thinner at the bottom here. I can take those off just with my regular pruning shears. I'm just going to come down here. I'm going to get all the way to the base of that tree, and I'm going to take that one off. Now, it's best to have something to put all this in, like a barrel, garbage can, something, depending on what you're going to do with it. You can replant these, as I've told you before, and they will start a whole new tree. Now, I have nowhere in particular that I want to plant these right now, but it smells good. You could compost them. I do find that if you're going to do that, you want to snip them up into tiny pieces so that way they break down a lot easier. So if you're willing to take the time to compost them, they do make excellent compost. Or if you've got trash pickup that does compost, waste pickup, yard waste pickup, that's always a great idea too. That's the avenue that we're actually going to take this time around, because my compost bin, I've got a healthy mix of other things that I have in it right now. We're going to go ahead and keep going here. Let me grab that trash can so we can get moving. Got one that's kind of growing almost straight up out of the ground, even though it's really just coming from the stem here. It just looks like it's coming out of the ground. It's pretty neat looking, but still got to go. I'm going to keep all of these lower ones here. I'm going to prune my way up there, these smaller ones. I'm going to go ahead and get those pruned out as well, and just keep going as I go up the trunk here till I determine the height that I want. I'm thinking right where all the branches start to kind of spread out here, let me see if I can get out of your way of the shot, is where I'm going to kind of stop. So you've got all these leaves down here that need to go, because I want this bare, like I said, where these branches kind of start to V out, if you will. That's where I'm going to stop with cleaning up the bottom. So let me get started there, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to shape this top part while we're at it. I'm going to finish up cleaning up the bottom here.
Draw me closer to your side.
So now that I've got most of my lower branches in order here, I've got a few left here on this side to clean up here. You can see it's kind of got this huge lean going this way. And I want to shape it to be more vertical like this branch here, right? So what I'm going to do is come in here and start taking off these side branches. Now I don't want to take it off too much. I don't want all this extra weight. Mainly I'm looking at this particular trunk here. That is my heaviest trunk. At any point in time could snap off. So I think I'm going to start with that big one. I'm going to come in here with this and I'm going to get right back as far as kind of where I want it, because again I'm shaping this the way I want it, and I'm just going to snip that off like that. And now I've taken off a large bit of that tree. A lot of you out there are probably thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would you take off so much of that tree? Well, trust me, I've just promoted so much healthy growth on this to reinforce all of these other branches to continue to sprout and grow up. What I'd like to see happen is something like this one here that's very small right now, but it's growing vertically. Fill in this center and really make this a full tree. And that's what I'm trying to promote, is get it away from that bottom growth and get the side growth off of there and really train the tree back up to shape it the way that I want to. In fact, this one is starting to lean a little heavy to the other side, and so I could come in here and take off one or two of these branches. You can see this one's actually quite loose. It's growing underneath this one here. So what I think I want to do is actually, because this is a tree that you can braid, I just moved that branch around and look at that. I've now filled that in. So what can happen is over this season, now this will grow here, kind of out towards this way, and this one will grow in that spot. And now I've still got airflow in here, but I've now changed the dynamic of this tree, whereas it was growing underneath that branch before, now it's going to grow on top of it. That's one thing about Rosa Sharons, is you can kind of move things around, and they will actually grow together and kind of mend together as they grow. So that's a really cool feature about them. That's why braiding them is so much fun. I'm going to take off this one here. So I'm going to go just as far back as I did the other one. Now I could go all the way down, but I want to see what it looks like first by doing that. Always take off more. Let me take a step back. I don't know about you guys, but to me, that tree already looks better. It's starting to look much more uniform, much more like an actual tree. I may take a couple of those lower branches off. I always want to take a step back and really look at your artwork, if you will, because this is an art. And just say, is it turning out the way that I want? And the nice part about these trees is they're pretty forgiving. I've run one over with a lawnmower and it came back. So they are very forgiving trees. Wow, I mean guys, if you look at the before and after, I don't know if I have a shot of the before and after, but I'll try to get it in here. It's night and day to me. Height is the next thing that I'm looking at, right? Is it getting too tall? Do I want to kind of go hedge trimming style and actually kind of top it? The other one I definitely do. On this one I'm thinking not. I think that I'm actually going to call it for this one. I can always come back a couple days from now if I see something different. That's the nice part about pruning, is it doesn't have to be all done in one day. As I said, I'm really excited about the way that other one turned out. This one's older, it's been around longer, done well. 8 or 9 seasons now this thing has been in the ground. Pruning it each time just does more and more with it. It's really a fantastic bush and has been. You can see at the bottom, I didn't do a great job of training it here. Let me bring you in a little bit closer so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see at the bottom here, it branches out quite a bit. It's V's in a lot of different directions. It doesn't shape up to be a tree in the middle like we were talking about. It's really splits out and then comes out to form this ginormous kind of bush, which is great. But Working in the garden space here, it was hard because you can't see it right now because I took all the bricks out, but all those weeds that are strawberries and weeds there, that was a path. And so you come around that path and you're just hitting your head on this thing because of the shape of it. This trunk line right here, I'm gonna take that whole thing out. And I know you guys are thinking that's crazy, but let's get started. Let's see how it looks after.
Take your pains out of my story. I don't mind. No. Move. Keep it steady.
Okay, so we changed angles a bit on you. I know you're getting a bit of a different angle. I was able to really open up that, air it a bit. I'm gonna start taking off some of these other side branches and see what I'm working with towards the bottom of the tree here now. So let me clean some of those up really quick.
Falter.
Did a little bit of pruning on the top here, and I also pruned a little bit off the bottom. I still need to work on the bottom a little bit more. Taking a step back and looking at this one here, I am noticing that it feels real heavy on the left hand side here. So I'm going to shape up the left. I've taken a lot of the height off. There's a few stragglers up there that I'm thinking I might take off. But I just kind of wanted to show you the progress that I'm making on this one. This one here, actually, as you see, that's a Rose of Sharon. It is actually a cutting off of last year's that was planted directly in the ground. Now, it was cut actually in the spring of last year, not the fall. Plant was planted directly in the ground. That is a 6-foot tall fence. And that's almost 6 foot tall, and it's flowering. So in just one season, it's that strong. I haven't pruned that one. I'm not going to. We'll wait one more season to prune that one. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit about pruning your Rose of Sharons. Don't be afraid to do that. As I mentioned before, it is actually healthy for the plant. You got to get a little aggressive and go after it. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content. We are just starting to do all of our fall stuff right now. I'm going to try to take you guys along for the ride. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and enjoy your gardens.
You don't know that I remember, but I assure you